Hello everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome back to the Popsicleknight channel.
Do you want a build that can hit for big damage and is easy to set up? Well, I've got just the deck for you. Introducing Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR. It has 270 HP, to retreat costs no resistance, and it is weak to fighting. The most notable feature to this card is its strong attack, taking curse. For just 2 colorless energy, this attack deals 50 damage times the number of Pokemon you have in play that has damage counters on it. So if you have damage on all of your 6 Pokemon in play, this attack can easily deal 300 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And you can easily power up this attack with a single energy attachment thanks to the double turbo energy. While it reduces your attack by 20 damage, it will count as 2 colorless energy, which easily powers up Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR's attack. One challenge of course will be to set up as much of your Pokemon in play and then dealing damage on them. One way to do this is with the help of the Gape-Jaw Bog Stadium. Each time either player puts a basic Pokemon from their hand onto their bench, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So this will help you set up your basic Pokemon with damage on them each time you put them into play. And yet another way is with the help of this Gengar, and this is obviously created to perfectly synergize with the Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR. It has the ability Netherworld Gate. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the discard pile, you can put it straight to your bench, and when you do this, you have to put 3 damage counters on Gengar. So while Gengar is a stage 2 Pokemon, all you really need to do is discard this Gengar. You can do this by using Quick Ball and Ultra Ball. You can also use Professor's Research, discard your hand, then draw 7 cards. Or you can use Serena for the option of discarding up to 3 cards from your hand and then draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. But you can also use Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR's V-Star power ability, Phantom Star. During your turn, you may discard your hand and draw 7 cards. As long as you can put this card in the discard pile, it's possible for you to put it into play right away. And you'll be increasing Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR's attack with an additional damage Pokemon in play. And I did include a few Psychic Energy in this build so that we can also attack with some of our Pokemon, like this Gengar, since you can also use its attack, Screaming Circle. You can put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So this attack can deal anywhere from 0 to 100 effect damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. If by chance you have other Pokemon with no damage on them, you can then use Damage Pump. This item card allows you to transfer up to 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your other Pokemon any way you like. This is great for transferring the damage counters from Gengar to your other Pokemon in play. With all of these options available to us to spread damage to our own Pokemon, you can easily maximize Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR's attack. It is worth noting that its pre-evolution Hisuian ZOROARK V is actually pretty cool too. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Void Return. For 0 energy, it deals 30 damage and you may switch it with one of your benched Pokemon. And its second attack is Shadow Cyclone. For 3 colorless energy, it deals 130 damage, after which you have to move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. This attack is great if you know this Pokemon would be knocked out during your opponent's turn, and by transferring the energy, you'll preserve it and you'll be able to power up your follow-up attacker. As for my other Pokemon, I have Dunsparce. It has the ability Mysterious Nest, which removes weakness of all colorless type Pokemon in play. Next, I have Radiant Alakazam. It has the ability Painful Spoons. Once during your turn, you can move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon. Being able to move damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon really helps to guarantee a knockout with Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR. But you can also attack with Radiant Alakazam since we have access to Psychic Energy. It has the attack Mind Ruler, which deals 20 damage for each card on your opponent's hand. This attack is actually really good given the right circumstance. And then I have 2 copies of Miltank. It has the ability Miracle Body, which prevents attack damage from a Pokemon V. It also has the attack Route. For 2 colorless energy, it deals 10 plus damage and 20 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this attack can deal anywhere from 10 to 110 damage. Snorlax will be my main draw engine in this build with its Gormandize ability, and of course I also have Manaphy to prevent attack damage done to our benched Pokemon. As for my other cards worth noting, I have 1 copy of Sharon's Care. This support card allows you to put a colorless Pokemon in play that has damage counters on it, and everything attached onto it back to your hand. I also have Avery for added disruption. This card forces your opponent to discard their benched Pokemon until they only have 3 left, and you also draw 3 cards. And then I have Serena, one of the options we've already mentioned, but you can also use this to switch one of your opponent's bench V Pokemon into their active spot. Next, I have 2 copies of Big Parasol. If the Pokemon with this equipped is in the active spot, you can prevent any effects of attack from being done to all of your Pokemon. And then I have Choice Belt so that we can increase our attack damage by 30 more damage when going against a Pokemon V. This will help increase Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR's attack up to 330 damage. And finally, I added V-Guard energies in this build too. The Pokemon with this attached will receive 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. Since your Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR will most likely have an initial damage on it, That extra defense may just help you to survive attacks. This build is actually pretty awesome. I do like the addition of Miltank, which can be an annoying wall against other V matchups, and I also like the one copy of Sharon's Care. It's so simple but very effective if you want to get a liability out of play and re-establish a fresh Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR when you need to. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete decklist in the description, and now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR.
Before we get into the video, I just want to give a shout out and thank you to our newest sponsor and friend to this channel, TCGVee. Users will be able to buy and sell Pokemon TCG online codes with each other instantly, so please be sure to show your support to TCGVee. Links will be in the description below. Alright, let's get right into our first match. So my opponent decides to go first. We're going to start this one with a Miltank in the active spot. And we have a bunch of Gengars in our hand, which is perfect. And then we can discard at least 2 of them thanks to our Ultra Ball. And then grab ourselves another basic Pokemon. And we're going against a Mew VMAX build. So Mew VMAX builds are really fast to set up, but thankfully they're going first, so they cannot attack just yet. And they're not going to be able to knock out our Miltank. Now Mew VMAX has an unblockable attack. Max Miracle is just going to go through Miltank's Miracle Body ability. So they can just easily knock out our Miltank. But my opponent's setup is doing really good here. They already have 6 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. They also have Oricorio. I always have to keep in mind that this one increases their defense, so we'll be dealing 20 less damage every time we attack. So what we're gonna do for now is use our Ultra Ball, discard these 2 Gengar so we can set it up anytime we want, using its ability to put it straight to the bench. But I'm thinking of just getting my Snorlax. I can scoop up this Miltank, put it in the active, and then I can just put the V-Guard energy. And I'm not gonna set up my Gengar just yet. I'll just Gormandize for now. Alright, cool. We got an Avery, and that's actually gonna help us disrupt our opponent's bench. Because now they'll be forced to discard 2 of their Pokemon, leaving only 3 on their bench. And that's gonna help us draw 3 cards. We also have a bunch of Quick Balls, so now we can set up at least 2 of our Hisuian ZOROARK V in our bench, which will allow us to survive an attack, or at least one of the Hisuian ZOROARK V to survive, even if my opponent has a boss's order. But they already evolved into 2 Mew VMAXs. They also have Lost City, so we're going to be losing our Pokemon a little bit at a time here. And what a good decision it was to keep our Gengar in the discard pile, because if they had targeted our Gengar, put it in the Lost Zone, we won't have access to it. So that's good. So they're gonna knock out our Snorlax. That goes into the Lost Zone, unfortunately. And let's go ahead and use Avery first. Okay, cool. We have Gabe Jawbog Stadium, which is actually gonna help us set up our bench as well every time we set up our basic Pokemon. So that also bumps out their Lost City Stadium. What I'm gonna do is just discard my other Gengar. Now we have access to 3 Gengars that we can put on the bench. And I'm just gonna set up my Snorlax for now. And we're just gonna stall a little bit here. And then use my Quick Ball. Get rid of this. We can recover that anyways. Get a Hisuian ZOROARK V. And then I can get another Hisuian ZOROARK again. If they have a boss's order, even if they boss 1, we have another one available. So I'm going to put Snorlax in the active for now, because we still need to evolve into ZOROARK VSTAR. So we'll need to stall. So what I'm going to do is just set up these 2 for now. And then I'm just going to Gormandize. So that leaves my opponent with a choice whether or not to boss one of my Hisuian ZOROARK V. But we have Professor's Research, so hopefully we can get a V-Star to evolve into. We have Choice Belt, and with Oricorio gone, we can actually get a knockout. So with 6 Pokemon in play with damage counters on it, we're dealing 300 damage. But with the little boost from Choice Belt, we can deal 330 damage, allowing us to knock out their new VMAX. So set up another basic, put the Choice Belt, and hope for the best. I mean, I could use Palpad to recover Avery. Yeah, might as well, because I'm going to use Professor's Research. I'm going to be discarding everything anyways. But I don't want to discard the other Zoroark, because we might need it. Yeah, let me just recover this V-Star. That's going to give us a higher chance of drawing into another, or into a V-Star evolution. And there's one. Nice. We actually got one. That is insane. Sweet. So now, all we need is this energy. And even with the double turbo energy decreasing our attack, we should get a knockout here. But I'm going to use my ability for now. We have another one, so we can evolve this one as well. And we're just going to use Sticking Curse for a knockout. Exactly 310 damage. Crazy. Any less, we would have that would have made their Mew VMAX survive. So that Oricorio actually makes a difference. That 20 defense makes a big difference, guys. So don't underestimate that Oricorio. And thankfully, they discarded it when we used our Avery. And that leaves them open now. Their main attackers are Mew VMAX. They have 2 in play, and that's their only main attacker. If they knock out our active Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR, we have another one in line. And it also has a Choice Belt, which allows it to one-hit KO their Mew VMAX. So this is probably gonna be game. And that's why, dude, this Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR is really cool, guys. It can deal a lot of one-hit knockouts easily, and the setup is so fast. Just get that Gabe Jawbox Stadium in play, and as you put those basic Pokemon on your bench, they get damage, and then just get those Gengars in the discard pile. And even if your opponent has Avery, you can put him back into the discard pile, and then you can just recover. Now, Lost City might pose a problem, because if that puts our Pokemon in the Lost Zone, we won't have access to it. But it doesn't really matter, because now we can just knock out this Mew VMAX with our Zoroark. We have double turbo energy available. We can even get this Gengar in play to easily get that damage. And we're just gonna knock this Mew VMAX out, and that's game. Crazy. Alright, good game. Alright, on to our next match. My opponent allows me to go first. Okay. We're both gonna mulligan. Dude, we're gonna start with a Dunsparce. That is not a good sign. And my opponent's using Dark type build. They have a Crobat VMAX in there. Oh, okay. Okay, we got Hisuian ZOROARK V, which is really good. Let's put the Gabe Jawbox Stadium. That way we can start building up those damage counters. Put this double turbo energy on Dunsparce, because we can get a Snorlax with a Quick Ball. But then we'll be wasting it away, right? I'll put it on Dunsparce, I think. I will sacrifice this damage pump. That way I can get Snorlax. Dude, where's my Snorlax? Snorlax, where you at, bro? Oh, man. This is this is not good. I was hoping to draw into a lot of cards before they evolve into their Weezing. Hopefully it's not the one that turns off abilities, but I'm pretty sure it is, because they have Crobat VMAX. I mean, the big Parasol is gonna help us not get poisoned. So I'll just switch into my Hisuian ZOROARK V with the big Parasol, and I'm just gonna pass. Alright, this is gonna pose a problem. Ugh, okay. They also have Yellhorn, which confuses both active Pokemon. But that's okay, we can evolve into our Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR. But if they evolve into a Weezing, we won't be able to use our ability. That's a problem. So they have an energy on their coughing. If they use Ascension, they have a chance to evolve into their Galarian Weezing. And if it's the neutralizing gas one, we won't be able to use our ability. And we're counting on it to draw into more cards. Otherwise, we're stuck. Oh, dude. They got Tails. Nice. We got another energy, which is really good. Evolving into ZOROARK VSTAR removes that confusion. We can use our ability. Dude, that coin flip made a big difference. It really did. Let's put another Hisuian ZOROARK. I don't think we'll need this mana fee, so I'll just get my Radiant Alakazam to move damage counters between their Pokemon. And what I'm going to do is just move one damage to Dunsparce, and we're going to Professor's Research. Alright, so we got another evolution for Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR, and I'm just going to move some damage counters on their Crobat V, because we're taking a knockout here. Scoop up that. Alright, cool. We're doing pretty good. Not a bad start. Yellhorn, that's annoying. And evolve into their Crobat VMAX. So their Stadium is preventing us from, both players, from forming up to 5 Pokemon. It limits our bench to only 4 Pokemon, which makes a big difference because now we won't be able to deal those big damage to their VMAX Pokemon, because now we're limited to 5 Pokemon in play with damage counters on it. So at least we have 3 Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR in play, so we have 3 strong attackers to rotate around. And I think I'm just gonna retreat this guy for now, and then we're gonna take in Curse. That way we can get a guaranteed attack against their Crobat VMAX, which could go a long way. If we can move some damage around, we might be able to knock out this VMAX with Radiant Alakazam. So now they have one Galarian Weezing evolved, another Crobat VMAX in play, and the problem is, if we can switch back to our ZOROARK with the big Parasol, that's gonna negate or nullify any poison damage from affecting our ZOROARK. So if we had a switch, that would be good. Thankfully, we won't worry too much about the abilities from our Pokemon anymore, because we've already used up ZOROARK's ability. And any of our other Pokemon's abilities is almost like an icing in the cake. So we won't worry too much about that. They're gonna hit and run, poison our active, and then what we're gonna do is start building up our other Hisuian ZOROARK. We can discard this Gengar. That's gonna help us to form up one more damaged Pokemon on the bench. But Miltank is a good option as well because it's immune to damage from their Crobat VMAX as well. So that's actually a better option than Gengar, since we have a lot of Pokemon with damage counters on it already. And what we're gonna do is just knock out this Manaphy for one more prize. So we don't have any energies just yet, so just attacking is a good option here. Got an air balloon from our prize. Okay. And they're going to switch into Crobat VMAX with no energies on it, so we still have the upper hand here. Because even if they put their Weezing in the active spot, poison our ZOROARK VSTAR, you just knock it out. And they're pretty vulnerable. Okay, they're gonna use their stadium again. And I think what we could do is just get rid of Miltank. That's fine. Professor's research. All right. We're dead drawing a little bit. We have a scoop up net, but I don't think they can knock out our active Hisuian ZOROARK, so we should be okay. They're gonna use their Galarian Weezing to deal 4 damage counters in between setup or in between checkup. And yeah, I'm just gonna knock out their Weezing. That's fine. It's gonna take a while before they can knock out our Hisuian ZOROARK. We still have a bunch of HP, and with no energies on their Crobat VMAX, we should be safe. And that stadium is messing us up from getting a one-hit knockout against their Crobat. Because we can actually one-hit knockout a Crobat VMAX if we have 5 Pokemon in play with damage counters on it. Just gonna retreat to Dunsparce, put this Choice Belt on my ZOROARK, and I think I'm gonna... I mean, we have Gengar, so I could scoop up this Dunsparce, put this guy in the active so that we can't get poisoned thanks to the big Parasol. Put Gengar in play so we have another Pokemon with damage counters on it. Use Professor's Research, and got our energy at least, and the V-Guard energy will reduce attack damage from our opponent's V Pokemon. I'm just gonna use Ultra Ball here to get another Miltank. Could set that up if it becomes available, and we're just gonna use Ticking Curse for 250 damage. Again, that one Pokemon that we need on our bench would have made a difference, but they're just gonna try and attack, retreat back into Galarian Weezing. We have no way to gust that Crobat VMAX. All the while, we're just gonna energize our other ZOROARK V-Star. Get a knockout from their Galarian Weezing. We got Palpad, which is really good. And we need 2 more prizes. And they're just gonna attack for 150. Didn't even knock out our Hisuian ZOROARK. And we're just gonna finish this off by knocking out their Crobat VMAX. Good game. Alright, on to our next match. We get to choose to go first, which is really good. And I'm gonna put my Miltank in the active. Don't have to put our Radiant Alakazam just yet. Okay. Looks like a Decidueye. I'm all for a different deck. You know, if you've been playing with a bunch of Lugias, it's always refreshing to play against a different deck once in a while, right? Let's use our Quick Ball, get our Snorlax. We can retreat. That way we can Gormandize. I will put my Hisuian ZOROARK V on the bench. Might as well put Gengar. We also have our Radiant Alakazam on our bench, and then we can move 2 damage to our other Pokemon. I'm just gonna Gormandize. I'm gonna save the Palpad, which could be very useful later on. So my opponent has Radiant Alakazam to start this matchup, and they also have Zacian V. So I believe that's the one that can find an energy from their deck and then accelerate to one of their Pokemon, but it will end their turn. But yeah, Decidueye might pose a problem, especially we don't have any way of getting through that defense, because Hisuian ZOROARK V-Star will not be able to get through Decidueye. But thankfully, we have other attackers. We can even attack with Gengar. We can attack with our Miltank and even a Radiant Alakazam. So with the Bird Keeper used, they can actually target one of our benched Pokemon for 60 damage because Rowlet has an ability that allows it to hit for 60 damage if they use Bird Keeper. And looks like they're also using Dragapult VMAX, and they are gonna attack our Radiant Alakazam. Thankfully, it has enough HP to survive an attack. And I mean, with those damage counters, we could just spread it. Just need to use our damage bump. For now, I'm gonna use Ultra Ball. We need one more Pokemon on our bench anyways, and then I'll just get Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR, and we can even use its ability to discard our entire hand. Let's go ahead and use our damage bump, put 2 damage to this Gengar and Miltank. And I'm just gonna Phantom Star. We don't need to recover anything right now anyways. And then we have a switch. Okay, we can start attacking now. We can knock out this Rowlet while it's still killable. Or while we can still knock it out. Because once it evolves into Decidueye, we won't be able to knock it out. It's either the one that blocks any attack from V Pokemon and GX Pokemon, or it could be the one that is a fighting type which multiplies the damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. Because that combos really well with Dragapult VMAX, because Dragapult VMAX of course has the attack that deals 130 damage, but also deals damage counters to our Pokemon's bench. I think 5 damage counters if I'm not mistaken. So they're gonna Marnie. They have Turffield Stadium to get them an evolution. They're gonna get Dartrix, okay. So we can bump that out using Gape Jawbog Stadium, which if they put a basic Pokemon on their bench, that could help put some damage on their Pokemon. Alright, so my opponent decides to switch into their Dragapult VMAX, hit for 60 damage against our Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR. Let's put our Choice Belt with the Gape Jawbog Stadium, and then I wish we had another Hisuian ZOROARK V in play. Start energizing that, but I mean, you could energize my other Pokemon. Let's put it on Radiant Alakazam. Why not? Use Professor's Research. And let's see here. Alright, we can't add any more damage to our Gengar. Unfortunately, we are hitting for 260 damage. We could have actually gotten a knockout if we could have gotten damage bump with that Professor's Research. So that Alakazam actually is controlling the damage that we have. So it's reducing the attack damage output of Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR because they're moving the damage counters and consolidating it to one of our Pokemon. So now we have to figure out how we can spread those damage again. We gotta find the damage bump. Okay, they're gonna present a Decidueye in the active spot. Okay, and now we can attack the next turn. Let's see what we can do here. We can attack with Miltank, but it's not gonna be dealing that much damage. And I don't want to switch and then get rid of that double turbo energy. So I think I'm gonna stack damage on their Rowlet. If they cannot evolve it, we might be able to knock it out if we move more damage counters onto it on our next turn. And I don't want to use Avery either, because if I do that, they could just discard their liability, because that Dragapult VMAX is a good target. We can get 3 prizes for that easy. Just have to figure out how to get through this Decidueye. So I'm just going to use Professor's Research, sacrifice everything. We got a damage pump, which is really good. But we still won't be able to get through Decidueye's defense. That's the only thing. So let's go ahead and move 2 damage counters to these guys. And yeah, we should be hitting for 330 damage at this point. But like I said, we can't get through Decidueye. We have Sharon's Care though, which is really good. I think I'm just gonna pass. As long as none of our Pokemon gets knocked out here, we should be fine. Then we can use Sharon's Care to get our Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR out of the active spot as kind of like a switching option. And then start attacking with our other Pokemon. Thankfully, their Radiant Alakazam can only move damage counters from 1 Pokemon. So it removes 1 damage from our Gengar. And we should be good for another turn. So next turn, we can use Radiant Alakazam. I'm hoping that they don't evolve into a Dartrix or Decidueye. We can knock out that Rowlet. That's 1 prize. And then just gotta figure out how to get through this Decidueye. So that's one thing I guess you have to watch out with Hisuian ZOROARK VSTAR builds. Dude, they also have Hisuian Decidueye. That's what I'm talking about. For 0 energy, it can multiply damage counters on its opponent's Pokemon. And it can pretty much deal a lot of damage. Okay, they have another Rowlet in play. So if they have a rare candy, they can evolve into Hisuian Decidueye. But they're just going to attack here. 90 damage to the active, and then also 20 damage to 2 of our benched Pokemon. Alright, they're targeting Miltank, and also they're going to continue to hit our Radiant Alakazam. But we're going to get a knockout here. Let's go ahead and transfer 1 damage counter to their Rowlet. That gets us 1 prize. We got 1 Psychic Energy. And we actually have Serena. So we can just gust their Dragapult VMAX, get 3 prizes for that. And we don't have to worry about getting through this Decidueye. All the while we can power up our Radiant Alakazam, and depending on how many cards they have on their hand, we can deal a lot of damage. So we're just gonna get a knockout here, 260 damage. For 3 prizes and a boss's order. And that's gonna seal the deal, guys. Not too bad. That wall, because of this Decidueye, makes a big deal, actually. Getting around it is a little bit tough. But thankfully, we have a few gusting options. We have boss's order and also Serena. And all we need is 1 more prize. And they still haven't gotten any prizes, so... We are definitely ahead of this game, and like I said, it's very refreshing to see a little bit of variety in the ladder, and kudos to my opponent for having an interesting deck. So they have a Decidueye to block V or GX attacks. They also have Dragapult VMAX to spread damage, and if they were able to evolve into Hisuian Decidueye, it can actually multiply the damage counters by a lot of damage and can even get a knockout against VMAX Pokemon. So I did a showcase of Hisuian Decidueye in my channel. So you'll see how powerful it is if you want to check that out. But they have their Radiant Alakazam, and with so much cards on our hand, they are dealing 180 damage. But our Radiant Alakazam will not deal that much damage. But thankfully, with the 2 prizes that they got, we can just boss this Rowlet. And we're just going to knock this out with our own Radiant Alakazam for the win. Good game. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.